The following is a conversation with Sebastián Gallegos-Berríos from Chile. Sebastian is a Chilean delegate for the World Federation of Occupational Therapy. He is the Director for Diploma of Occupational Therapy Extension in the Neonatology, Pediatrics and Early Childhood Unit, in the Critical Patient Unit, and the Prescription and Confection of Splints and Orthoses Unit. He is currently the president of the Chilean Association at the University of Queensland, where he is a PhD candidate. Let's welcome Sebastian and absorb all the information he has to offer on occupational therapy in this country, which is known to be the best place on earth for stargazing. Occupational Therapy Around the Globe series is created with an intention to foster global communication in the occupational therapy world. Each episode will feature a guest or delegate representing their country. The discussions are purposefully driven to understand occupational therapy from the country's perspective, specifically surround the topics of history of occupational therapy, the awareness levels in the country, what does OT education entail, the licensure scope of practice, the current situation of the profession in the country, and future of occupational therapy. Hi, Sebastian. Welcome to the Nourish by Near podcast, OT Around the Globe series.
Hi, how are you? That is an honor to stay here with you and have this chat and show something about Chile. So happy to stay here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting learning about occupational therapy in Chile from you, because you are doing some research on the same lines for the country as well. So I bet it's going to be a very knowledgeable episode.
Yeah, I'm here. Well, actually, right now, I'm in Australia, but my research topic is about how is the clinical practice in Chile. All my career has been in Chile, in Santiago, in the capital. But from last year, I arrived here to do my PhD. So I think that I can contribute for the knowledge of worldwide to know about Chile.
Yes, of course. And you are the WFOT delegate for Chile.
Actually, yeah, from 2020, December, like something like that. I'm the Chilean delegate, so I have been in some council. Last year in Paris, I have my first face-to-face council, and it's a really great opportunity, and it was such a great experience to share with other delegates and talk about the discipline that I really passionate.
Yeah, and that's the fun part, right? You get to visit so many different countries being
in
a delegate.
Very short part. Yeah, was something crazy because I earned the scholarship to come here, but the border were closed in Australia, so I had to wait like 2 years to arrive here. And when I arrived here to Brisbane, I just arrived in June, and I have to travel to Paris, and so it's one explosion of feelings about what discover new stuff. Know my supervisor, the professor in University of Queensland, and then go to Paris and hear a lot of conference, and it's in a very short period of time, from June to September. It was crazy. It was the most crazy experience in my life about OT. So it was.
Yeah, so you seem to be very passionate about occupational therapy.
Yeah. I was. I think that I always say that I'm Sebastian. I have my family. I'm Chilean person who ride my bike. I'm very happy, but part of my life is OT. I think 24/7. I think that I'm OT. I love inclusion topic, politics stuff also. So I think that is part of our life. My teacher of the life is being an OT.
Yeah. So can you provide us a brief introduction to the origin and history of occupational therapy in Chile?
Yes. This year, 2023, is a very special year in our history because we, in April, we celebrate 60 years of OT in Chile. In the beginning of the 60s, a group of OT, of people, professional, teacher, PT, they traveled to Argentina in 1962. And next year, they create the first course at the Universidad de Chile. So that's why we celebrate the 60 years now. It's very interesting because the Universidad de Chile was the first university for a long period of time. The second school of OT in Chile was created in 1996 in Universidad Playa Ancha in Valparaíso. The next is very close to Santiago. In the beginning of the 60s, we created the first course, the first school, with this group of OT who learn about the discipline in Argentina. And in 1967, we were recognized from the World Federation. So it was a great milestone in our history. And I think that was one of the most important things in history. In 2001, create the first discipline journal. And it's called, and this is the first journal that we can increase the knowledge and we can share our experience. And it was one of the most important journal in Chile and in Latin America.
So that is focused on occupational therapy? It's like specific to OT? Okay.
Mainly about OT and occupational science. So that is the main topic about this journal. And by the way, in 2010, it was very important too, because it was the first World Congress in Latin America. All the Spanish speaker country. So it was a very important milestone for our story. Because it was the center of the war in OT, and it was a very weird year because we suffered one of the most stronger earthquake in our history, 8.8. So that year it was very crazy about what's happening in Chile, and then we received all the experience around the world. Some new topic emerged from that Congress. And I think that this was a very important and specific event for our history. That last year, we are working in research now to know how many OTs are we in Chile. By the way, I have to say that in Chile, we are like around 40 programs along Chile, from the north to the south.
So you have 40 programs, like bachelor's, master's included, or a PhD?
Yes. We have most of them, I think 95% of the program, they have the bachelor program.
Okay, yeah.
And there are 3 programs that they are just diplomas, because they don't have the grade of the degree of bachelor. And Chile in 2018, they create the first program of master, of occupational therapy master. And actually right now we don't have any PhD program. That is the only postgraduate program. And we can be, we have, it's very special because Chile have a very high and a very good quality of education in Chile. We studied 5 years. So my experience talking with other delegates and staying here in Australia, the quality of the OT, the Chilean OT, is one of the best on the world. I can say that because we have a very good program around along Chile. And most of them, they have the bachelor degree. And 5 years ago, we are talking about how many OT are we in Chile. And 5 years ago, I followed the number, and we are a little bit worried. Why? Because 5 years ago, we were like 3,000, 4,000 OTs. But now, in this year, we are more than 13,000 OT. The number has been...
Wow, that's a huge increase.
Yeah, massively. So, and that is a very good news from the country for the society. But we are a little bit worried because I don't know if that the country is prepared for that. If we can afford all the offer and demand of the work. So we are worried about that, and we are now actually we are doing the first workforce survey to know where we're working, what are the most important field in
Yeah, that's a good idea because you will get, detailed information of the areas that are areas of scope of practice, which are like heavily in use where you OTs are serving. And also you will get the range of financial income that they're making through that too.
That's right. That we want to know what are the conditions, because we know just very wide a number of OT. Our system is very special because the health system is an hybrid system with a private part and public system. And now we are having a lot of changes about, because a few years ago, even before COVID, we have a social movement, political movement that we are talking about how it's working in Chile, and we are suffering a lot of changes. And we are very worried. And I think that is a very special moment in our history to increase the power and how we are positioning in the country. So that's why we want to know the number and where we distribute, if we are, because in Chile most of the people live in Santiago, like percent of live just in the capital, and there are some cities they are just a few OT. So we want to know that information, and how can working with the university we can contribute to improve that information and the practicing.
So like how has occupational therapy evolved over the years? Like you did touch a little bit on the number of OTs that have been increased drastically, right? So but how has the practice overall evolved, like over the years, when it first started, how it started in the country, and now where it is currently?
Well, in my opinion, reading the history, I think that the most important areas when the OT was created in Chile, it was the physical practice and mental practice,
Interesting.
Because arriving some rehabilitation hospital, and this biomedic model was one of the most important approach in Chile. I was studying about that, and we are like, from these 30,000, 400 OTs work in the public system, and most of them, they are working in the physical area, talking about hospital in neurological field, orthopedics, nutrition unit. So I think that is one of the most important I think that 20, 30 years ago, I think that was one of the most important areas in Chile. But now I think that the community-based work has been one of the most important. The reality and the context of Latin America is very special. We are different than here in Australia and the States and Europe, and the community-based work is very, very, very important. The primary system, I think that is one of the trendy topics right now in OT. If we are talking about what are the groups, the bigger group who are increasing, I think that is normal around the world is pediatrics, with neurodeveloped disease like autism. I think one of the biggest number of OT, the largest number of T are working on that. And for the change of demographic, elder people is another very important group for OT. So I think that is the larger group of OT who are they working on in that area.
So there is a shift from the focus on the physical aspect to now more towards developmental aspects, more towards developmental disorders or on the...
Yeah, I think that now from this physical approach, we are working in this more comprehensive way to understand the people. So I think it's not just especially in physical area or mental health. We are talking about, and by the way, this year, this government signed the first law about autism. And that is very important because we didn't include in our constitution or law in the past. So right now, in 2023, it's a little bit changed, but I have to say that it's very important for us. And we are working on that to include them in the school, in the work, and create the environment to include them in a very good way. So I think we are not working just in physical area, mental health area. We are working in what is happening in the Ministry of Education and Health Ministry and Social Development Ministry. So a very comprehensive way to understand the situation and create solution about that.
So can you elaborate a little bit on this law of autism that you just mentioned?
Well, the family, it was very important to know there was a social movement. I think that is what has been working 10 years ago, and they make a lot of pressure to the authorities to say, okay, here we are having a problem, a huge gap, and we don't have enough places to go. We don't have the health system they don't let us be immersed in our system. So they were working for a period of time, a few years. From this government, they take this idea and they create this law. This is an effort of every kind of colors, political colors. I cannot say just one head on another wings. It was a very transversal idea. They create the first law in autism. What is said that we have to respect them, we have to include them, and we have to consider their right and do everything that the government and the state and all the people have to respect and create opportunities to include them in the society. A good screening at school, in the primary care system, one screening, and we are working a group with experts to know what are the best tools in Chile, how to do the diagnosis, how to do the treatment, and to the workshop to all the people, all the professionals have a very good skill to treat them and how to work in the work, how to create. And there are two groups. The first one is about children and teenagers, and then adults. So it's very comprehensive way to understand this neurodivergent thing. And I think that we are increasing the knowledge and the practical measure and the law to include them in a very good way.
Oh, that is amazing. That is amazing to hear, actually. So promoting more of the diversity, equity, inclusion, for everyone in the country, regardless of, if they are neurodivergent or neurotypical as
Yes,
such.
because I don't know if that everybody know how is Chile. Chile is a wonderful and beautiful country, but it's very long. It's very, very long and very thin.
Oh,
So
yeah.
all is concentrated in the capital, in the center of Chile. And we have a lot of cities and small communes that we call the small village in Chile. And we have that problem that we don't have all the opportunity to go to different professionals in some cities, even big cities, they don't have enough professional to be tended by these different conditions. So one of the main important thing in this new law is, okay, we have to distribute all the knowledge and all the professional to include in a good way all along Chile. So that is an idea.
So how does the practice of occupational therapy differ, in Chile than any other country around the globe? What makes it different in Chile?
Well, I think that is very similar around the world. We need the referral about the doctor. In Chile, we have a different system. For example, in Australia, in UK, when you have any issue, you go to your GP, general practice. And then if they found something, okay, maybe you need a specialist. Okay, go to pediatrician, midwife, whatever you need. And you do the referral and the OT. But it's different because if you have a headache, you can go directly to a neurologist. Or if you have a stomachache, you can go to the GP, that is a general doctor in Chile, and go and talk to him, or you can go directly to the specialist. And they have to do the referral to OT. So that is the formal way. But the main system, the offer of OT, we have a public referral, and that is the most important way to go in the public system. If you have a problem, you have to go to the doctor, and they have to do the referral to OT in the public system. You cannot go directly. But in the private system, you can do whatever you want. If you want, you can go to the midwife directly, to the nutritionist directly. If you can go to I think I was reading Google, and I think my kid need OT. So I contact in the private system and I go. So it's not, it's very free. It's free about the way that you can approach and do the referral. But that is a little bit unfair because the people who have the resources, economic resources, can do anything, and they collapse the system. If you are in the public system, you have to wait, and you don't have enough resources to get. So you have to a lot of money. So that is one of the characteristics in Chilean system.
So, what are the challenges that OTs are facing in Chile, as compared to their counterparts or other countries?
Well, I think that not a lot of people know about OT. I think that is normal. That is around the world. what are you doing? I'm out OT. What is that? Even my family say that. What are you doing as an OT?
Yeah.
But in the last 10 years, the profession has been very famous because we are the expert about disability, we are the expert in ergonomic, we are the expert in some topics. So I think that the knowledge and the name of OT in Chile has been increasing very much. And I think that is very important for us, for our identity. And that I think that is one of the most important issue. And now the economical cover, that is another issue because it's not covered by the system. So some activity that we do as a professional, they are not covered. So the patient have to pay
out of pocket.
Out of pocket. But now in the last 2-3 years, we were included in the public system. So right now, the public system and the private system, because they have to follow the same, they cover something. We are talking about just maybe 10%,
yeah,
30%, but it's not covering all the
whole amount of services.
Yeah, exactly. So that I think that one of the most important thing is the access, because they have to pay from their pocket and the cover. But I think that in the last year have been increasing. I'm in Australia studying. I'm studying about the knowledge, how we transmit and how we share our knowledge. And I think one of the most different, or maybe one of our weakness part in OT, is that we are not very good to write or systematize our work or share our knowledge writing in academic articles. So we share in our journal our experience. So we are including a lot of experience around the world. What is very hard to include the experience in other countries, in other realities, in other contexts, and include here in Chile is a little bit hard. So I think that one of the most important weakness in OT, in our discipline in Chile, is like we don't write and we don't good systematizing and writing and share our knowledge.
Like there's not enough research being done as much as it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I think that is the most important issue in the academical and the disciplinary, and we are losing some identity, in my opinion, because we are taking some topic from PT, from sociology, from the Northern Hemisphere, and we are taking a few ideas because we are losing our identity. So that I think that is one of the most important issue in our discipline here in Chile.
So let's move on to what initiatives are being taken, right? You did mention a few really serious concerns for OT in Chile, but what are some key initiatives or steps that have been implemented to advance the profession?
Well, I think that university has have a great responsibility to be the main places to create the knowledge in different places in Chile. So I think that universities are taking, some of them, they have a very good initiative to create, to apply different grants, and I think they are working very well. And the quality of the technical talking, maybe not the reasoning, but technically, the OT in Chile are very, very good. So I think that a few years ago, even before COVID, our association was getting lost. We were like 30, 40, 50 associates that we were thousands of OT in Chile.
Oh, wow.
But after, in the COVID, we have the opportunity to have this meeting online. So now in one point, we have like 1,000.
Yeah.
And they were very immersive in association, and they create a lot of groups. We have a hand association. We have, for example, another group, intensive care unit is one of the most bigger and more important group in Chile. And that is very important because around the world that is not an area that OT are very important. So in Chile, a group in University of Chile, they create some diplomas, and we have an association in that topic. And there are feminist group, they are a occupational model group too. That I think that the people are talking about, okay, we have to create different areas that we are an associate to create and help us as a community and improve the knowledge in Chile. So I think that is one of the best initiative that we are having in Chile right now.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like having those different specialty areas in the association. So they would work on more of the professional education or continuing education as such, and also provide resources on that specialty area.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about all these programs, right? And like really intensive school education programs for OT. So are they like most of the programs, are they in San Diego or are they spread all around the country?
Most of them, I don't have the exact number, but most of them are in Santiago. And I think that OT, most of the graduates are in Santiago too. But they have one university have different venues in the north of in the south of Chile. So I don't have the exact number, but I think that we are like 40, 15 15 university, but they different venues are along Chile, and they are like 40 venues along Chile. By the way, I think 25 universities are recognized by the World Federation, so they are working very, very well.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
They are working locally. They have their own reality, but we are a very central country, and so we are working on that to try to make a better development in other region.
Yeah.
Just in the capital. So we are working.
Sure. And so you mentioned like all these programs at the bachelor's level would be about 5 years for the bachelor's?
Yeah, the bachelor, all of them, they have 4 years to get the bachelor degree. And then the last year, they make the clinical placement.
Okay.
They get the honor or the, in some places, could be a master. So we have a bachelor degree, and in Chile we have the title of OT, and that is the honor in other countries. So it's very different, but we have the bachelor and the title of OT. You can be an OT after this 5th year, but you can make master with the bachelor degree. And 3 of this institution, they have just the title of OT, so they are OTs. They have the registration in the health system, but they're not bachelor. So they have to get the bachelor degree in another university. So in Chile, to be an OT, you have 2 ways. With a diploma, just a few institutions, and the larger number of OT in Chile have the degree of bachelor and
the title.
The title, yeah.
Okay. So, and then how many years is the master's?
The master is 2 years in Universidad de Chile. That is the only one program of master. And at the Universidad de Chile, just one. But there is other master degree. They are not from OT. For example, I did the master in neuroscience because I really passionate about that. I love that topic. So it's normal that the OT change and that we are losing that I'm talking about. We are losing our identity because we don't have a lot of chances to be an OT master. We are a bachelor in OT. We are OT. We can be a clinician. And then we have to choose if we want to do a master. And just a few places we can study the OT. And like me, most of people choose other disciplines as sociology, psychologists, neuroscience, and other topics.
Right. So then, like once students graduate, like what are the different regulatory bodies or associations in the country, like to provide licensure or registration?
Well, when you finish the major, we are automatically registered at the national system. So we are registered in the Minister of Health.
Okay.
So with that, we can work. So all the OT students, when they finish their title, they can practice here. And most of them, they do some replacement. They work in different areas. We can work in prison, labor inclusion, education inclusion, very big area in pediatric, elderly, and it's very wide. And we have a very good quality of the technician thinking. We know about everything. The reasoning is a bit one of our weakest part. And for example, if somebody around the world want to work here, an agreement with Uruguay and Ecuador, and we have an agreement with this country, and they can work automatically. They have just present the document, and they can work as an OT.
So which countries did you mention? Ecuador and
Uruguay.
Okay.
They can work because they have an agreement, so they can work in Chile, and they just have to present their document, the certificate, and then they can work because our government have an agreement.
Okay.
The other countries around the world, if you want to come here to Chile and you want to work here, you have to contact Universidad de Chile and do the registration. And you have to prepare the supervision in a clinical placement for a period of time. You have to do a theoretical work, and then after you present all your document and all your and present your work, you can be registered to the health ministry.
So you mean like you have to, I mean, anybody who is entering Chile, apart from the countries you mentioned, they have to like submit the evidence of so-and-so courses completed or this much of the clinical placement or fieldwork or exposure done, so many hours, and then they qualify.
Yeah, they obviously, Universidad de Chile, they are going to look your document, maybe watch your program, and maybe in some cases, if you don't have enough knowledge about some topics in specific, maybe you have to do some courses to have the same level. But I think that if you have a good level of this country, have bachelor degree, you just have to present your
degree and the
certificate and your degree. Yeah.
Nice. So in terms of like having, sorry, I just lost my train of thought here. But Oh, yeah. So you mentioned about the registration being done at the college. So
Mm,
is that the association that would be
mm.
different from the association, or is that a licensure body?
That is an autonomous institution,
Mm.
and one part of our history, a very dark part of our history, we have this year we have 50 years of or when they begin the or very dark part of our history, the dictatorship period, and that in this government wasn't a government; it was a dictatorship. They
Yeah.
made disappear the association, so the association lost all their power. They don't have any
Oh.
responsibility.
Okay.
So that's why it's a little bit hard because we are like a private group that we have to motivate the people. Okay, come here to the association, and we have to create this. So
Mm-hmm.
it's voluntary, and they have to pay a membership
Mm-hmm.
to be part of the association.
Yeah.
I'm part of that. I'm very proud to be part of this team.
Mm-hmm.
We could last year we organized the National Congress.
Mm-hmm.
One was 10 years ago, so it was a great event for us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's completely free. So, anybody
Oh,
can
okay.
be part of the association. Chilean association is called Colegio,
Mm.
or you can enter to this webpage is chile.cl, and you can register and you have to pay a fee for 1 year or whatever you want and be
Mm-hmm.
part of this association. But it's completely voluntary, it's not mandatory. If you just wanna stay there and work on the association, you can be part of that.
Oh, okay. So that is the association, and that's not the body who will. The registration is issued by the Ministry of Health.
Yes,
Okay.
and the board and the association doesn't have any participation in this. It's
Ah,
completely
okay.
different. In other countries, like here in Australia, you have the APRA system, that is the Ministry of Health that you have to register, but
Yeah.
the other part you have to do it with the board of Australia OT. So they have this relation. In Chile,
Mm-hmm.
no. You have the association here
Mm-hmm.
of and the Universidad de Chile, and you have to just work with them. The association doesn't have any uh, any responsibility in the registration of OT in Chile.
Ah, okay. So,
Just
like, how about like, does the association participate or encourage more of research projects, or like, have you organized the congress so there would be more events where the participants would come and present their research or latest education?
yes, well, it's a great group. We are increasing the number of OT, and we are trying to organize it because the way that we are working is depend of a law. So we have to be responsible and we have to work on to organize everything, the economics and all of that issue that is very, very hard, and we are working on that.
Mm.
And it's a mix of activities because we try to get involved most of people that we can, and we try to share all the experience and share some workshop about different kind of topic. We have, for example, in our YouTube channel, we have some activities with sensory integration, about justice
Mm.
work, physical work, and we are working on that. So we try to improve the knowledge in the discipline.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, we have a small group who are working in research. And we are working, for example, in this workforce survey, we are working as a group of research. So we have another group working on that.
Yeah.
Politically, we are working with other associations to improve the benefit of this in Chile. And another, we are trying to be the center of the expert. So the government, they say we need expert, for example, in pain. Okay, so we make the call and they say, okay, we need somebody who can help and be the expert of this topic. So we call and we try to be the being part of this group. So working in this policies about the inclusion of OT in the system. And I think that is the most important thing, creating event, be creating this workshop about to improve the knowledge, research, and be the
Advocacy.
center, the accessible to for experts.
Okay. And so like what areas or like what patterns have you seen? Any new emerging trends or areas of interest for OT practice in Chile?
In my opinion, the main trend are the pediatrics. I think that is most of them, but I think that is normal around the world about how increase the number of diagnosis of autism. I think that is one of the most important, and there is a lot of group, for example, I remember that we have another una corporación, it's a group of sensory integration that they have a relationship with South California University. So they have all these courses of sensory integration.
Yeah.
So I think they have a very great group here in Chile. So I think that if I have to choose one, I think that is a trend. But the other one, I think that elderly people, because the number of elderly people in Chile has been increasing very, very fast. So I think that dementia, Alzheimer, the people who are working in that field, I think that, and one of them are intensive care unit. So I think that we have a group of researchers. Evelyn Alvarez, she's a great researcher here in Chile, and she earned some public grant, and she's working on delirium. So one of the main, they are working a lot in Italy, in the States, in UK, and in Chile, I think that one of the most important groups around the world.
Yeah, and I mean, the intensive care unit is like, it's very interesting because this is different. And I mean, I haven't heard any country having this, such a large population of OTs working in intensive care unit.
Yes, actually, we have here in Chile, we have this association. It's from the medical association. It's called SOCHIMI, the Chilean Medicine Intensive Society, SOCHIMI. And one of the part have the nurse, PT, and one group is with speech pathology and OT. And this is one of the most important associations in Chile in OT. And we have 2 diplomas about that on OT as a specialist. So we have the diploma in adult and in neonatology and pediatrics. So I think that is a very good group in South America to study and know about this. So very interesting.
Yeah. So like you did touch upon it a little bit earlier on the advocacy steps being taken. So can you share like any specific or notable policy or advocacy efforts in Chile which are, related towards promoting the role of OT?
I think that a lot of people, they are working to increase the and be protagonists of the health system of OT. I think that a lot of people are working on that. But I think that the association has been working in the last 10 years from the World Congress. I think that we have, they are working very, very good to talk, to send letters, to have a lot of meeting with the authorities and make lobby with the senator and all the government people, and we are having contact with them. So I think that the most important institution or association is the national. They are working very, very hard on that. So there is some other groups. For example, there is another very highlight OT is called Andrea Sondek, and she doing a great effort for labor inclusion. And she's very important. She create a foundation. She is working and she make a lot of lectures around Chile to
promote and create awareness.
Yeah, the inclusion, and we are working on that, and the law about the inclusion right in the world. So I think that is very, very important in our country. So I think that it's very important to promote the OT in Chile.
Yeah, some good steps being taken along the way. So Sebastian, are there any cultural factors that impact or influence the practice of OT in Chile? Any societal or community factors?
Well, yes, I think that we're immersed in a Latin Hispanic culture, and we have several characteristics that one of the most important things, the community-based work is one of the most important, and we really care about this comprehensive point of view of the life of our patient. I think that is very important in all field that we are working. We are very worried about what is happening with their family, and I think that even more important than the person, what is happening with them. We are very worried about what's happening in the context. So I think that is very, very important. And what is happening in their house, what we want to include all this approach to know what is happening in their school, at work. So I think that is very, very important. Another situation that is very important to say is the OT knowledge mainly has been developing in some countries in the north. And we have this gap of the language, the knowledge of English in Chile. Just very few people can understand and read in English. So we are we have a huge gap between the knowledge around the world and the knowledge in Chile. So I think that is, for us, it's very important to the experience, how we can share about the face-to-face or mouth-to-mouth to other experience about other people, more than the read an article. So I think that the experience about has been on OT, it has been very, very important. But that is changing around the time. So I think that we are changing our model to, the experience, the institute, the intake, we are changing for the evidence practice about the way we are reading and try to increase the research in Chile. So I think that one of the most important things, and talking about our socio-cultural background, it's very important that we have a very, as I told you, and this year is very important for us because we remember that episode that happened 50 years ago, now this year in September. And that create a political and health system that we are trying to change, because this system, the Chilean economic system is one of the best around the world, one of the best even in Latin America. We have the macro.
Okay.
They are great. We are rich around the world. But the Gini, that is the distribution of the wellness, in Chile, we are one of the highest index in the world. So we have a segregate. We have a public system. It's very good, but it's collapsed because we have a lot of like 200 hospitals, but they have to attend 80% of the population. And we have a private system. So that is part of our background, and we have to be flexible with this health system. So I think the political, social, economic background make our practice. So I think that OT, we are very worried about that, about the advocacy and how we can be immersed in the system and create a change and improve our quality of life of all the society.
Yeah, sure. And so are there like any specific cultural factors that you OTs in Chile have to keep in mind when working with the population, as compared to other countries or other ethnicities?
Well, yes, that's right. We are very worried about what is happening and now with minorities in some point of view. We are talking about a lot of group of researchers. They are working in some transgender and sexuality agenda, and that has been very important. On the other hand, there is a region in Chile. We have a huge background. Most of the Chilean people, we have an ethnicity that is Mapuches and other groups of Aboriginal groups. And that is normal around the world. We steal their land and we were very cruel with them. So we are noticed that, and we are trying to include them and try to change our system. So I think that in our agenda as an OT, we are including this intercultural determination, this cross-cultural knowledge, and we are trying to include their language, their knowledge, their culture in our way that understand all our background. So I think that we are in a period very important in our history that we are taking change and get involved in these topics.
Oh, okay. It's interesting to know the steps being taken.
Yeah.
So we are almost towards the end of our discussion for tonight. I do a 5-second game, if you know. So I'll just briefly give you some basic rules on what the game is about. So it's going to be like 5 questions.
Okay.
And you'll get like 5 seconds for each question to answer, right? So you got to answer within that 5 seconds. And then the questions are mostly going to be about your country, Chile, like, general questions about the country as such. So nothing very, very, nothing that you, or nothing that you have to be like, oh my God, I needed to study for this kind of. So let me know when you're ready. I'm going to start the timer.
Always ready.
Oh, you are ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's see. So your first question is, name 3 popular Chilean dishes in under 5 seconds.
Okay. My favorite, pastel de choclo. My second, charquicán. And the last one, empanadas. Empanadas de pino. It's like a pie.
Yeah. Yeah, I do know the last 2. I know the empanadas, but what are the first 2 that you mentioned?
The first one is like is a plate with a paste of corn. It's sweet. They prepare with milk, and you have to spend a lot of time there. And you have, we call pino. The pino is a preparation of onion and other spices with meat or chicken, and you mix them. So you have a level of meat, or you can make it plant-based if you want, and then the paste of corn, and it's sweet and it's delicious. And I have been here in Australia, and I really miss it. The second one is called charquican. Charquican is a word that the charqui is when in the past some people they don't have fridges, so they have to get dry the meat, and the dry meat is called charqui in South America. So you make like you match the potatoes with other spices, corn, onion, and you make a mix, and you match all of that, and you add this meat, this dry meat, and it's called charqui for this meat. A can, just for another the second word, and it's very easy to do, and it's delicious because I grew up with my grandmother, and she cook amazing. And empanadas is like a pie. Here in UK and here you have a pie, but we have the empanada with meat. And in Chile we have hundreds of kind of empanadas with cheese, with prawn, but my favorite is with the original, with pino, with this meat and spices and onion, principally, mainly.
Yeah, I like empanadas. I've had them here.
Yeah, that's really delicious.
So, your next question, what can you name like 3 famous Chilean landmarks?
Okay.
Or places to visit?
Yeah. My first favorite place is Austral Highway. It's one part of the south of Chile from Punta Arenas. Puerto Montt is like Santiago in the center of Chile. It's Santiago, the capital, like and then you have to travel 1,000 kilometers to Puerto Montt. Then you have the option to go to Argentina to cross that part, of take a ferry and begin. It's like, I don't know, maybe 1,000 kilometers of a highway, but it's not the best condition. But what is the most important part of that is amazing place. You have a great forest, you have a lot of cascade, you have a lot of waterfalls, glaciers, and you can walk on the ice if you want. And that in that place is Laguna San Rafael Lake, and you can watch all the iceberg and the glacier, and it's a stunning place. It's my favorite. I have been there like 3 times, and if you ride Carretera Austral and you can watch the image, you are going to be crazy about that place. The second one, I think is very, very different, is Atacama Desert. That place is one of the driest places in the world. I'm talking about the glacier, and now I'm talking about a desert. And it's beautiful because it's like to walk on the moon. It's very, very dry, and the sunsets are really great, and you can go to the salar, and you can walk on the salt, and it's a beautiful, beautiful place.
So they have like salt flats.
Yeah, and you can take this photo because it's very flat, and you can watch the flamingos, and that is really, really great and completely different than the south.
Yeah.
You are watching about desert and folk is amazing. And the last part is the extreme south of Chile. It's called Punta Arenas. Puerto Natales is two places very, very close, well, like 100, and you can do the trekking of Torres del Paine. And Torres del Paine is a national park. Is stunning, and there is other places. You can go there to Isla Margarita, and it's beautiful because there is a complete island is fully of penguins. So you can watch them, and you watch thousands of them. And when you can watch the eggs, how they grow, and you can watch the small penguin and the big and the other one. So you are walking the trekking, and you have to respect them. So if they are walking, you have to stop, and they have to cross the pathway, and you have to stop. And
that is so interesting.
You have to go there. And the last one, sorry, I'm going to cheat, but Easter Island, I forget it, but Island is close to like 5 hours by plane, and it's Rapa Nui with these moais, and the landmarks are stunning. The colors and the beaches are really great. So sorry, 4.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I mean, there's such a variety of places to go to, and they do sound like a must-visit place.
Whatever you want, if you want to make a trekking in the desert, or if you want to go to the glacier and make a scale or trekking, whatever you want in the forest, or you want to be the nature, or you want to go to the beaches, you can go wherever you want.
Yeah, I want to walk with the penguins.
It's amazing. It's really great.
Yeah, you're doing great with this game.
I love Chile.
Yeah, I can see, I can tell. So let's see, what's your next question? List 3 popular Chilean sports or athletes. I mean, sports persons or athletes.
Well, now from now to the past, I think that the most important sport in Chile is football. I don't like soccer, but to include all people. So I think that the most important football actual is Alexis Sanchez. He play currently now in France, in the Marseille, and he is the leader of his most important striker in Chile. He was very young when he began to play. He has been playing in Barcelona, in Arsenal, Manchester, and now Marseille, and he have a very great spirit because he's a very simple boy, and then he make a great effort to be now in the place where he is. And I think that he's an example of sportsmanship.
Yeah.
Another one, I think the people of tennis. Tennis is the second most important sport in Chile. I think the highest was Marcelo Rios, and he was the number 1 of the world in 1998. So I think he was very, very important. He was proud in that period of time because we were not very important in sport as other countries, but he was one of the most important number 1 in our history. So Marcelo Rios, I think that this number is the second one. And another one I want to highlight, Tomas Gonzalez. He's a gymnastic, and it's not so popular in Chile. So he's a great sportsman, a great athlete, and I think he was 4 in one Olympics game, and he won gold medal in other competition, Pan American competition, but he was a highlight sportsman in a very not popular sport here in Chile. So I really highlight his career.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
And now my interesting question. So what are like maybe name 2 or 3 traditional dances or dance forms in Chile?
Mm. Okay. The traditional, I think the typical dance in Chile is called cueca. And there is different kind of cuecas depending of the place. We have of the center, the south, or the north part. And it's like analogy how the rooster conquer chicken.
Oh,
So
okay.
we try to the man try to approach the woman to seduce her, and she said no. So she moved, and the men have to follow her.
Oh,
And
okay. Interesting.
three stage, we make different moves to seduce them. So that is the main idea. And we have different costume to dance that. I think that is the typical dance. And in other places, I think that Vals Chilote is a dance, a typical region in Chile. I want to say that there is some, I cannot remember the name, but in the north part, they have like a carnival. And they use this customer like dragon, like spirit, and they make collective dances. So I think it's one in the south, the center along Chile, and in La Tirana, this kind of dance is very typical.
Oh, wow. It's interesting to know, like, each country have their folk dances, which are like, so they are similar in a way, but different too.
Mm. Yeah,
So,
and the costume and even we have the cueca in Chile. It's a way they can reflect the society, because they are like a rich cueca with a very fancy costume, or you can be very simple and you are more you try to do another move and say it's very funny, and I at least I love it. We really and our national festivities are in September, and the Chilean people, we change in that. We are our mood, the way we are in another different way to live September in Chile, at least.
So there's like a lot of positivity, happiness all around.
Yeah.
So your last question. Can you name 2 of the Chilean festivals or celebrations that are unique to the country?
Okay, yeah. The festival, well, we have one of the most important. I think in some part of Chile, in the extreme, they are very religious. So I think the image of the mother of Maria is very important, and they celebrate, I think, in Carnival period. So it's called El Carnaval de la Tirana, and that is in the north of Chile. And we have some cities, million of people go to there to celebrate this image. Is in Carnaval, in La Tirana. Another festival, well, I want to do 2 more. One in the south of Chile, I cannot remember the name. I'm going to watch it, but they move some houses from one place. Yes, they put some part of the tree, and they try to pull them, and they move houses, and they participate thousands of people there. And the authorities make a big food, the music, there is a party to change one house for one place to another place. It's really crazy. I'm going to I'm going to Google the name of that. And that is another festival.
Oh, that's
that is in
interesting.
Chile. Yeah, they move
It's
their houses. So if you want to move, you don't like the way where or you don't like your neighborhood, you can move your house. You put like wheels in your house, and the people,
oh wow.
100 people, they are pulling your house to move to another place.
Oh
And
wow. It's so much fun. I mean, it's the first
and
I've heard.
100, they use tractor and people pulling the house, and it's very, very funny. And the last one, I think that is more commercial, but is the Festival de Viña del Mar. I have to include because it's the music festival, one of the most important in Latin America, because a lot of very important artists go to there. In Latin America, Luis Miguel, for example, international Tom Jones go there. So a lot of it was, I don't know, Backstreet Boys, stay there, Shakira, they begin, Miguel Bosé, Ricky Martin, they begin, Juanes, they begin their career in there. And they were there, they actually, if you watch the Festival of Viña del Mar, you can watch Shakira very young with 18 years old, and very famous artists, they begin there and then they create their career. So for us, I think for people in Chile, it's very, very important for 1 week, and everybody can watch that festival at TV. So
yeah, that's a good one too. Like I didn't know about this one. So you have done great. I mean, you didn't just give answers; you gave more than I asked for. So really good. It was fun to know actually some really different aspects of the country, and some really different cultural aspects too in terms of the dance as well.
Yeah.
So
Well, sorry, but the name in the south, this festival to move the houses is called Minga. Minga, Minga, and that is they move one house and they celebrate the harvest. It's very impressive way. If you Google it, you are going to see some video, and it's very, very funny. So yes, and I really involved because I really like the Chilean culture, and I think it's very rich, and that is the way. If I can contribute from my discipline, from my knowledge, from my mind to culture and Latin American culture. That is my idea. That is the way that I want to grow and help people make a better world.
Yeah, and it's interesting to know too. The culture in the country as such is really good to know. So I had so much fun, Sebastian, talking with you today about all about Chile, the country, and also our OT profession in the country, how it's evolving, how it has grown over the years, and what steps are being taken in the country to further the profession. So it's been such a great time having this discussion with you.
Well, it was the same for me. It was a great hour with you. I feel very comfortable, and I invite everybody to contact us to know what is happening in Chile. We have a very rich culture. We have a very good quality of OT. So if you are lucky to know what is happening in Chile, please talk with them, help them. And I think that we are trying to do a great effort to improve our discipline. So we are here in the south of the world, but I think that we can contribute to the knowledge, and you are going to hear about Chile. So thank you for the opportunity. I'm really happy to stay here and share my experience and whatever that I can contribute for people. So I'm here, whatever you want.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time and sharing, the insights about the country as such. Have a great evening.
Same for you. Nice.